part of a rare and dying breed, a centrist and a moderate Democrat. Jim Webb was Secretary of Navy under Republican President Ronald Reagan. He voted for George W. Bush over Al Gore, but by 2006 he had switched parties to become a Democrat, and he won a U.S. Senate seat in Virginia. Jim Webb takes a somewhat more optimistic view of the potential for a Trump presidency, and he joins me now. Senator Webb, welcome back to the show.
Yep, nice to be here.
So let's put some context to your words. When you wrote an op-ed right before, literally the day before the inauguration of the Wall Street Journal, and it was mostly on foreign policy, where you're saying there's something about his election is a jolt the system needed, or a shock that it needed. Explain.
Well, in so many words here, I didn't say that the system needed a President Trump, but I've been saying for a long time that the system we're operating under needs some sort of you would call a jolt. I think both parties have sort of gotten calcified, and let's remember that if Hillary Clinton had won, you would be seeing the same sort of activities that you're seeing now. They would just be focused on different things. There'd be people out there saying she belonged in jail. There'd be people talking about corruption, turnstile government, et cetera, et cetera. So what we're seeing playing out right now, first of all, and as the governor mentioned, this is a new administration, getting its wheels under it. But at the same time, this is an attempt by President Trump to pull different types of people into the system from the old turnstile government. There's a lot of Republicans that are mad at him. We're sitting out there in the think tanks thinking that they were going to come into a Republican administration. And also, he's got a payback, I think, that he feels strongly about in terms of the people who actually put him over. These voters that were alienated, were not voting, and these issues, the controversial issues that he's pointing out in a wrong kind of form, I think, are issues of credibility. On the Democrats, first of all, they're looking at 2018, and they don't have a message. They don't have a
Speak to them as they, by the way.
Well,
You don't say we. Is there a reason?
I'm not in the system right now. I'm over here with you right now.
Fair enough.
I've spent
Okay.
a bit of my life as a writer and a journalist, and it's a good place to be able to make these observations.
Then welcome back and finish the observation.
Well, there is a campaign going on the Hill, in the media, in the academia, to personally discredit not only Donald Trump, but the people who are around him. And the end result of this really is trying, and to slow down the process, by the way, you and I were talking a minute ago about the confirmation process, is slow it down so that by 18, when the Democrats are very vulnerable, particularly in the Senate, there will not be a record of accomplishment that they can run against. And at the same time, the Democratic Party over the past 5 or 6 years has moved very far to the left. When you can't have a Jefferson-Jackson dinner, which was the primary, celebratory event of the Democratic Party for years, because Jefferson and Jackson were slaveholders. They were also great Americans in their day. Something just different has happened to the Democratic Party.
You think they're too focused on identity politics?
Well, I think that the message that has been shaped by the Democratic Party has been shaped toward identity politics, and they've lost the key part of their base, the people that, and my family history goes back to the Roosevelt Democrats, the people who believe that regardless of any of these identity segments, you need to have a voice in the quarters of power for those who have no voice. And we've lost that with the Democratic Party. I'm not saying the Republicans have it, but
I was just going to say the center's been hollowed out. You could make an argument that the political center in both parties, because right now, if you espouse that and you were running for re-election, any Democrat were espousing what you just espoused, which is, look, essentially you're saying, hey, start working with him a little bit, accept the fact that he's president, you'd get primaried, and you'd probably lose.
Well, true. Well, I don't know.
I understand you, but I'm saying Democratic incumbent.
Generally,
yes. Fair enough.
That is a danger to people who would say those sorts of things. But the Democrats have not done the kind of self-reflection that they should have starting in 2010. And I was talking about this in the 10 elections. You've lost white working people. You've lost flyover land. And you saw in this election what happens when people get frustrated enough that they say, I'm not going to take this aristocracy. Bernie, a good friend of mine, Bernie can talk about aristocracies all he wants. The fact that you've made money doesn't make you a member of that philosophy. Look at Franklin Roosevelt. But there is an aristocracy now that pervades American politics. It's got to be broken somehow in both parties. And I think that's what the Trump message was that echoed so strongly in these flyover communities.
Ed, let me ask you, on the election, you stayed away from saying who you supported in the election. I know that Tim Kaine is somebody you have a lot of respect for. I can't imagine you didn't vote for him.
I voted for Tim Kaine for senator.
For senator. Do you, at the end of the day, are you comfortable with your vote? With whoever you voted for?
I'm comfortable for my vote, and my vote is private to me. But at the same time, you know, I will say that I did not endorse Hillary Clinton. I had a lot of the concerns that, you know, people in my group that I've grown up with have, and the Democratic Party's got to do some real hard looks at whether or not they are going to expand and get back working people who used to be the core of their party.
Are you done with politics?
I'm over here with you right now.
All right. I will leave it there. Senator Jim Webb apparently coming back to the journalism world. We'd welcome you back.
Thank you.
That would for sure. Anyway, thanks for coming on.